Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the finale for my Mission Impossible review series leading up to the Final Reckoning. That movie comes out this weekend. Since this is pre-recorded before I head to the Cannes Film Festival, I have no idea if I've seen it there or not, but whatever the case, let's get this review started. This is my retro review for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which came out in 2011, December 2011, making it the only film in the franchise not to be released in the summer, and it's the live-action debut for Brad Bird, who of course directed The Iron Giant, The Incredibles, and Ratatouille. Once again, we follow Ethan Hunt, and in this movie, he and his team are being framed for a bombing at the Kremlin. So the IMF has been disavowed, the president has initiated Ghost Protocol, and it's up to Ethan Hunt and his team to try and locate the man responsible for the Kremlin bombing before a possible World War III starts. And they have to do all this without any outside equipment, without any outside help, just the four of them and whatever equipment they have. Mission Impossible 3 wasn't an amazing movie. I really enjoy it myself, but considering that the franchise had kind of lost steam after 2, 3 was a good step in the right direction. And in retrospect, considering how J.J. Abrams later handled Star Trek and Star Wars, it's probably a good thing that he didn't come back to direct another Mission Impossible film. His production company, Bad Robot, is still involved with Ghost Protocol, but this time we get Brad Bird at the director's helm, and the result is my favorite of the Mission Impossible series. And this is actually the first movie in the franchise that I saw in a theater. It was actually New Year's Eve. I literally had nothing to do, and my mom says, "Do you want to go do something?" And it was at her suggestion that we see Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, so I'm like, sure, why not? And we both walked out of that movie enjoying the hell out of it. A couple weeks later, I eventually took my brother and my dad to see this movie at the IMAX theater in City Walk. I bought it on Blu-ray the second it came out, and I really had that movie on a binge ever since I bought it on Blu-ray, because it is that good. It takes all the elements from the previous films that were good and not only perfects them, but basically sets the template for the other movies that would follow. The biggest improvement that Ghost Protocol has above the other movies prior to it is the team. This is the best team of the entire franchise. I will stand by my gun when I say that, because all the team members are so well defined, they are played by really good actors, and we get to know a lot about them. Simon Pegg is back as Benji, who is now a field agent, and he's mostly there for comic relief, but he's an effective comic relief. He has the funniest scenes in the entire film, one of which got a huge gut laugh out of me when I first saw it. It's when they're in the Kremlin, they're trying to hide from the security guard with that map that projects a wall, but Benji gets in front of the camera that's supposed to be showing the wall, and it's just his giant face before Ethan Hunt pushes it to the side. That got a huge laugh out of me, but Benji still manages to be a true badass, and he's really good at his job. The movie also brought in Paula Patton as Jane Carter, making her the second Agent Carter that we got in 2011, and she is really good as well. She's a total badass, but we get a full story with her character. She has a personal vendetta against an assassin, and basically her struggle to try and not let hatred get to her, and at the end of the day, it kind of does. She's really good, and much like with Maggie Q, I kind of wish that the franchise had kept her around. Both Maggie Q and Paula Patton, I think, were really great additions that I wish carried on into the Christopher McQuarrie films. Then you have Jeremy Renner as Brett, who is another great addition to the franchise. He has that really cool mannerism that he always brings to his film roles. And much like with Jane, he has his own personal story as well. We get to learn more about him, why he ended up being an analyst despite being a field agent and having skills that could rival Ethan Hunt's. And by the end of the movie, we get basically a complete arc with his character. So the team aspect was perfected in this film. It's so good, in fact, that Ethan Hunt actually ends up being the most boring character of the team. But that's only because he's been the main character for 3 movies prior. So we already know Ethan Hunt as a character. And with not much in terms of character development, we get the part of the franchise where where he does the most insane stunts. This is the movie that basically laid the groundwork for the Christopher McQuarrie films to follow, where Tom Cruise gets the biggest action sequences. They're mostly practical, and they put you on the edge of your seat. Like when he's climbing the Burj Khalifa, that scene, whether I'm watching it in IMAX or not, puts me on the edge of my seat because he has these two gloves. One of them is faulty, and when he gets to the generator floor in the building and his cutter basically glitches out and he falls, I'm just like, ah, jeez. Yeah, that sequence is incredible. All the action is very well shot, it's well framed, it's exciting, and it's also very, very tense. One of the things that the first Mission Impossible movie did so well was build up a level of suspense, which mostly worked, but again, this is the movie that perfected that aspect, because if you remember back from the first Mission Impossible, when Ethan Hunt is in the tube on the train with the helicopter following them, it's clearly done in CGI. In context of the film, it's a very tense sequence, but in this film, you know that Tom Cruise is actually hanging from the side of the Burj Khalifa. Obviously, he's wired and they digitally erase the wires, but he's doing that for real, similar to how he was really hanging on to that plane at the beginning of Rogue Nation. And considering that this is Brad Bird's live-action debut, it's almost like he's been directing live-action films his whole life. By default, this is his best live-action film because Tomorrowland has issues. I would definitely like to revisit that movie at some point, but I remember liking it at the time. I absolutely love this movie. But I would be lying to you guys if I didn't say that the movie was perfect, because there are some big problems. The first is that the villain is just so weak. Like, he's just a generic, like, politician who wants to try to start World War III with a nuclear bomb. And this villain is so generic that he's almost nondescript. Coming off the heels of the villain from Mission Impossible 3, this one was a total letdown, especially considering that the assassin in this movie, played by Léa Seydoux, was far more interesting and more cool than the main villain of the film. Fun fact, this was actually the movie, this and Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris, that basically introduced Americans to this actress, and she would really go on to have a great career afterwards. And also, there's a lot of really shoddy CGI sequences, which I know the Mission Impossible movies are not known for its use of CGI, but this movie in particular really bugged me because with Brad Bird coming from an animation background, it's almost bizarre that the CGI shots are that bad. Like, they don't take you out of the movie, but they are like, wow, that is clearly CGI. Despite those problems though, I adore Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and it still remains my favorite of the franchise. It has some amazing action sequences that would establish what the future movies would do. The team is the best that's ever been, and all the characters are really fleshed out and really likable. Michael Giacchino's score is also excellent, and also is the perfect cinematic rendition of the Mission Impossible theme, complete with those bongos at the end. You know what? Screw it. Despite the problems, I'm going to say get off your ass and go see it right now. I adore this movie. I was obsessed with it when it came out. And to this day, as much as I like 1, 3, Rogue Nation, and Dead Reckoning, and as much as I love Fallout, Ghost Protocol is the movie that I find myself rewatching the most when it comes to this franchise. So it is just... it's as good as a Mission Impossible film can get. And there you go, that's my review for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I hope you enjoyed it. And then of course, we know from this point on, Christopher McQuarrie would come in to direct Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, and then all the other movies in the franchise leading up to the final reckoning. Which again, as of recording this video, I have no idea if I'm able to see it at the Cannes Film Festival. If I did, there's a review for it right now, but if not, I'll have a review for it as soon as I get back. So until next time, thank you guys so much for watching this video and this retro review series. And I want to give a special thank you to my subscribers and YouTube members right over here. You guys are the reason why this channel continues to grow every day. And if you want to help to financially support the channel, you could do so via YouTube memberships for as little as $1.99 a month. But until next time, I want to know what you guys think about Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Whatever your opinions are, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, you can find me on these social media platforms and my theme park and travel channel right here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.